Yes, one at the back. Thank you very much indeed. Go for it.
A question for Matt. Having worked with you on the SIG groups around the MOJ, just want to hear a bit more about Sprint 2 and Sprint 3 and what's your vision for the future of those?
Thanks, Alex. So we're going through an internal governance process at the moment just to review where we got to and the work we did with the resources available. Sprint 2, as I sort of alluded to in the slide, for me, sort of two key things really. It's building a data specification for a common data environment and linking other colleagues across the BIM working group just to start widening that spec so we can have a chance of meeting that stretch target to verify and validate data. So that's a very key one. Now we've got to a pretty good place, I think, on the data specification front and the EIR requirements, then to move that into a new space. The NBS toolkit as well, want to support that endeavour and see how our IDP sort of fits in with that and put that into good use. So it was mainly using actual models. We've got a number in the pipeline ready, not real projects, but ones that we can really put through the mangle, check, verify our policy, and then put it into an environment that's even wider use. So that go into detail, but certainly the attribute side of it that Nick mentioned, very rich area, I think, in the FM space. And I hope you'll be part of that as well.
Next question. Thank you.
Generally for the panel, sorry, Matthew from Trebilcock. Overall, solve all of them. It was just possible implications on Brexit, on BIM adoption, because obviously we've dealt a lot with Scandinavian sort of areas and brought in a lot from European adoption. But I think you could sort of hinder in any way maybe, or sort of liaise with sort of Europe and that. Especially with export.
Yeah, I'm probably not actually sort of best placed to answer the question, but I think the co-working they're starting to sort of develop international standards. So I think that by their very nature sort of cross outside of just Europe. So I think there will be in a BIM level 2 and the sort of core functions around the stuff that we've been doing in the UK. Will still form a part of that, but I don't know. You know, I'm certainly not going to talk about Brexit at the moment. Thank you.
I might just add something to that. Jeremy mentioned that last week we did have an Enbury meeting here. I think there were 9 European countries other than our own that were represented, and what was very clear was they're all looking at us for the lead, which is interesting. Nice to be in the lead. Thank you.
Jay Sibbett, IM4 Consultants. A question for Peter Vale, just on the Thames Tideway. Under AMP6, the push is supposed to be for TOTEX, or more really for OPEX. What kind of pressures did you find the client was giving you in respect of return on investment for OPEX, or targets for actually delivering benefits for the FM team who really are going to have very little familiarity with getting benefits out of BIM?
Before we became Bazaljet in August, we were all part of Thames Water. So the way we were developing as a project, we were following the Thames Water requirements as such. So it's an interesting one, because from our point of view, as we've broken away, we've set that platform. We're committed to deliver the project. However, because of the alliance, and we know that they're working with 820, we have mechanisms that we are worried about that AMP in 5 years' time. But our project will be more focusing on the as-built handover to them. So we'll work in partnership with them. And we have something called an interface agreement that allows us to revisit ourselves with Thames Water every 12 months to understand how that's developing as such. So from a historical one, we were in alignment to what Thames were doing anyway, but looking at as a project in its own right, you know, the benefits that we would get from delivering the sort of towards a level 2. We're not sure. I've been to a British Water session where we've been looking at across all of the water utilities about moving towards TOTEX and looking at the as-built element of level 3 and the sort of the operational elements. From our point of view, we've got to deliver. We've set ourselves up to be capable of delivering towards them, but ultimately Thames as our client will dictate how we deliver to them as built handover. But we feel that our framework's in place that gives us that robust flexibility to ensure that whatever they ask us to do, and with that alliance, we'll be able to deal with that and work towards that goal.
Dan.
Hi, Terry, with the level 2 mandate, the phrase that comes about is the centrally procured government projects, or the centrally funded bit. Is there a clear schedule of departments who are going to hold the mandate and others who have stood up to it? And if there isn't, could there be one? There's lots of confusion with people not sure about which departments are having to do it, which ones have signed up to it, and which ones it isn't applicable for.
Okay, I think at the moment it's been the departments that have been party to the construction client group. So that's where the mandate is, and I think the other departments are, or some of the other departments are not so much in the sort of large scale procurement, estate procurement. So that's why we've sort of focused on the main departments. I think that's where the mandate is. That's where we need to sort of really consolidate practice, process, and get the examples out there. Matt did a great example of where we've got other departments that are becoming shared estates department now. So there'll be some of the departments that are now forming part of the MOJ estate structure that will benefit from all the work Matt's done. And there's a number of clusters that's happening. So I think in a number of those clusters, you've got a key government department that were part of the mandate. So I think you will start to see that sharing of data, lessons learned, and process and practice just through the nature of bringing those departments together.
So all members of the construction client group?
Certainly all members of the construction client group, but actually there'll be departments that sit round those that are not exactly part of that, but they'll benefit through these clustered estates.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Maria from University of College London. I have a question for Terry. The adoption for local authorities very compared to the rest is very low. Is there a strategy for them to advocate?
Yeah, I think more and more, because of the sort of budget constraints that local authorities are under, they are starting to look at how can they drive benefits from every level of their budgets. So a lot of local authorities have procurement frameworks. So we have the representative of the National Association of Construction Frameworks, a guy called Nigel Midmer, that leads their BIM group, and the regional or the local authority procurement teams are actually working together to provide a structure that local authority can work through those procurement mechanisms to deliver BIM. So I think they're doing a lot in terms of making sure that the NACF members have got standard templates and BIM processes that as soon as a local authority wants to procure a project in BIM, they've got the mechanism to do it, and they've got the links in with the local authorities to help them develop their BIM capability as well. And of course there are a number of sort of really good local authorities that are already using BIM, like Manchester City Council and others. So there is a sort of growing awareness there.
Thank you. That does perfectly bring us on time. So it just shows you a conference on BIM and everything flows perfectly. So I'm sure you're all ready for a break. That's been a fantastic first session. Can I ask you to show your appreciation again to all of our speakers?